Hello everyone, and welcome to NTFWFCTC1STURP, Netflix's Transformers War for Cybertron Trilogy Chapter 1 Siege, the Unofficial Recap Podcast, a subsidiary of the Can We Talk About podcast. I have many large paintings of myself and my triumphs. I am Joe.
I have a chair that looks like my family logo. What would you call a Decepticon symbol? I'm Kristen.
I must not have been paying much attention, Kristen, because I did not know that Megatron had a Decepticon chair.
It was when he was talking to Ultra Magnus, they were sitting in chairs that looked like the Decepticon symbol.
Wow, well, that one went right over my head, but...
I did love the paintings, too, though. I think that was my other big takeaway from this episode.
And, Kristen, without much in the way of introduction this time, let's pad the time by speaking very slowly until it's time to just get to talking about the episode, because Kristen...
Is something gonna happen? Holy shit. Maybe by the time he finishes that sentence, something will happen.
Continuing the trend of episode 1, this episode happens to be episode 2 of Transformers War for Cybertron Trilogy Chapter 1 Siege.
Super sequential.
Let me tell you, not a ton happens in this episode.
Not really. Again, I guess to some degree, knowing that they have a, 6-episode overarching plot happening, it's like, okay, you can take some time for setup, whatever. If this were, like, the second to last episode, I would be like, okay, guys, we gotta move it along. There was some boring shit, but
We kick things off basically where we left off here, as one might assume, outside what I have christened the Deceptidome.
Owned by, was it Doug Dimmadome?
Yeah, Doug Deceptidome.
Doug Deceptidome, owner of the Dale Deceptidome.
Perfect, rolls right off the tongue.
How do we keep making references to Fairly Odd Parents on this podcast?
Kristen, it's weird because I had a joke that I had in the chamber that I was going to use later, and now we're going to reference Fairly Odd Parents again later in the episode.
Oh no. Is it the tape recorder joke again?
It happens to be the tape recorder joke, Kristen. You know me so well.
Yep, that's the only joke we know.
I have a mysterious figure is approaching here, and I refer to Ultra Magnus as mysterious figure until his hood comes down, which happens about 3 minutes and 50 seconds into the episode.
Is it a mysterious figure if the silhouette itself has defining characteristics of the person in question?
It's odd, because Megatron has no idea. For like a little bit, he's like, wait, let him get closer, let me make sure. Am I seeing the shoulder pylons correctly? Okay, I know who that is.
There's some interesting, I feel like, order of dialogue in parts of this episode where I guess what is actually happening is Megatron is like, oh, I know who that is, this guy who I know super well. Let's see what he wants, but no one else knows who he is, and they're all like, shouldn't we kill this guy? And Megatron's just like, but won't explain why.
Alright, well, we'll get there when we get there, because actually there's stuff that has to happen first, which...
Whatever.
I don't know if this is a different writer's thing, but we start with Megatron being like, okay, Seekers, go find Optimus, go find all the Autobots, go murder them, when at the end of the last episode, Megatron was sat on his throne all pensive like, no one will be able to find Optimus Prime, not until we smoke him out with love.
That's right, I forgot about that. I do love Joe with this crowd scene. There are so many star screens. God, it's just a sea of piss boys.
This episode really puts to light how few character models they have, but it's thankfully they can rely on multiple reflectors and multiple seekers.
I thought I saw the reflectors in there too. God, my brain is so big. They did show us a lot more Autobots this episode too, but I was like, who are you?
A lot of them aren't General G1 people, and we'll get there too, but some
and the
people...
one, you know who I did recognize? Hound. So, Cog, fuck you, Cog. I hope you die.
The mysterious figure makes his presence known here by tossing a random green seeker in the middle of the seeker pylon that we got going on here.
Joe, I think I would have liked this scene a lot more since the mysterious figure, takes his sweet time walking down this runway up to Megatron in this extremely spacious throne room or something. Why can't he wiggle his hips like Elita 1? Like, work that catwalk.
There's some weird stuff that I noticed in this episode where, in sort of reference to the Elita 1 walk, where, like, what should be solid robot pieces kind of get rubbery and bendy when walking.
I noticed a little bit of questionable lip physics this episode also. But I guess that's a thing that we kind of just have to Accept and let go.
Hey, they're not made of any earthly metal, so maybe they could just move it like muscle. Who cares?
That's how Alito's hips, like Meryl in Metal Gear Solid 1.
They're perfect, exactly.
Wiggle wobble.
So Megatron orders that this mysterious figure is not gunned down immediately, only on his command. Just like, oh, hold, wait a second, wait.
Don't shoot him until I say so. Man, it is amazing that they are winning this war because no one fucking listens to Megatron.
Because, yeah, first is Jetfire. Jetfire pulls out his gun, and there's a very odd line where he's like, that's as far as you. And then he stops, and he doesn't shoot. Starscream just sort of walks in front of him seconds after he finishes what he was saying, and it's just like, hey, reveal yourself, dumbass, what's going on?
And it's like Jetfire got distracted or something, and Starscream was like, I'm gonna jump in here. And then he gets grabbed, and is like, Starscream, cut the shit.
I will only back down when it stops being a coward's way!
And as we know, Starscream, famously, not a coward.
Barricade here. He is the one
who...
Evil Prowl is basically his role.
God damn it. Some of these guys were the same colors as the Insecticons and the Constructicons, and that upset me because I was like, wait, do I know who that is? And the answer was no.
So, Kristen, I'll give you the quick rundown on Barricade here. Barricade was introduced in the 2007 Transformers movie as a police car, so a Decepticon police car. I'm just going to let that one rest for a second.
Wait, hang on. All cops are Decepticons.
Is Michael Bay secretly woke 13 years ago?
Whoa! You wouldn't know it, would you?
Barricade is the one who fires on Ultra Magnus here and misses completely, so not only are the Decepticons inept, they can't even hit their fucking targets.
I really thought for a second that was like some kind of like, point blank shoot, and then it's supposed to be some kind of like big reveal of how, like, I don't know fucking anything about Ultra Magnus. Maybe he's psychic or something, and he made the bullet curve, but it's really just nothing, and he shoots past his ear. Maybe for a warning. I don't know.
Well, to be fair, before Barricade shoots him, Ultra Magnus does do a weirdo, like, they use the entire frame to show this, of Ultra Magnus, like, turning out his hands really slowly, and there's, like, a sound when he does it, so...
I assumed he was showing them he was unarmed.
I thought so, too, but the presentation made it sound like, oh, fuck, he's gonna fire lasers from his hands.
Yeah, Barricade just got really threatened by his palms.
And, of course, only fire on my command, Barricade gets punched in the face.
Yes, he deserves that.
Oh, I'm sorry, wait a minute. No, he gets backhanded. Somebody else gets punched in the face this episode.
Oh, there we go.
So Megatron can finally tell who it is, I guess, because finally he's just like, hey, I know who you are, mysterious figure, and you are foolhardy for coming here.
And he takes his cloak down, and we're like, whoa, I was totally thrown off by those shoulder pylons. It's Ultra Magnus. Because we see his face now, obviously.
Yeah, that's how we know. It's like the blue and the red and the white. That could be anybody, but like the...
If you asked me right now what colors Ultra Magnus was, I don't even know what would come out of my mouth.
Well, to be fair, it's not like the lighting is the best on Cybertron, so...
That's true. I'll take any excuse I can get.
He surrenders himself to the Decepticons here in hopes that he can kind of negotiate peace, and now we finally get the cartoon opening, which, Kristen, this entire sequence would have been about... I think this entire episode could have been like scrunched into it. It would have been clunky, it wouldn't have been great, but it would have been one segment in the G1 cartoon.
That's true. Did we not have the opening in the first episode?
We did. You just forgot it because it takes 10 seconds and there's not much going on.
Okay, no, I skipped it this time. So I was like, is there a reason, like, do I not remember it? Because I've actually never seen it before, and I was like, skip intro!
When we start back up, we are assumedly inside the Deceptidome here, and Megatron's wearing his very large hat, because he is Doug Deceptidome, of course.
I thought you were talking about something that actually happened for a second. I was like, when the fuck is Megatron wearing a hat? This is where the Decepticon chairs come in.
Yeah, Megatron is at his long rich guy table that he and Ultra Magnus are on opposite sides of here. And we get some, what I referred to as Star Wars prequels tell not show banter, as Ultra Magnus is like, hey, do you remember that time we fell into that nest of gun darts?
Let's reminisce some exposition.
Apparently, Kristen, Ultra Magnus, and Optimus, and Megatron were all buddy-buddy once upon a blue moon at some point whenever, and Magnus and Megatron saved each other's asses at the Battle of Tannhauser Gate, which is a reference that went over my head, but is probably a reference to something.
Is there any significance to them calling each other brother, or is it just like a term of endearment? Because I know we've talked about how Transformers are made before, and how some of them have, like, the same base components, but obviously all these guys are not the same thing.
I'm sure in some continuities, and I can't think of them off the top of my head, that for some reason Megatron and Optimus are brothers.
I mean, that makes absolute sense. That fucking tracks, doesn't it?
I want to say that's a real thing, but I don't know. I assume it's just brothers in arms kind of things, like Ultra Magnus is the military guy.
That's what I assumed, but considering they say it directly so many times, that I was like, is this more than just war buddy?
They they throw it at each other. After this first use of it, it's all just like ironic every time it's used, like, take my brother away from here.
Considering the scene, after watching the entire episode, I just kind of look at Ultra Magnus and I'm like, you fucking idiot. It's hard to take him seriously when he's like, I just want peace.
His plan is basically him pleading, hey, if you can help me convince Optimus, that'd be great.
He wants to have a sit down.
Megatron's like, okay, you could end it. Like, Megatron's not, like, subtly but not so subtly being like, hey, you have the power to end this. All you gotta do is blow Optimus' stupid face off, you dumb idiot.
That's true. That would work.
He doesn't say that, but I feel like that's what he's strongly implying.
I mean, we had the word ass in the last episode. I feel like if they wanted to do a thinly veiled death threat, they could have thinned that veil a little bit more.
He could have come out and said, ice this motherfucker.
Yeah, exactly like that.
Ultra Magnus is not comfortable being like, I don't want to order the Autobots to stand down, because honestly, they don't want to stand down. And then Megatron's like, okay, well, cool. Why the fuck did you come here then?
I'm not really sure where your game is. He's like, all right, then their death is on Optimus's hands. And your hands. Cool.
Megatron, again, very dripping with smugness and sarcasm, is like, take my brother to one of the finest holding cells we have, Jetfire.
I really like watching Jetfire and Starscream stand next to each other. Starscream looks so small.
We go back to the arc here, and Optimus relays the news that Ultra Magnus surrendered, and Kristen...
I bet you're all wondering why I called you here. Oh good, we're having a meeting.
Nobody is happy with this development.
I'm finding it difficult to check the vibe at the Autobot base. Because it seems like they're anti-Decepticon, but not really agreeing on anything else. They're like not on the same fucking page.
They definitely don't like the Decepticons, but they also don't really want to fight, so...
And they're also obstinate.
And Alita does have the what am I fighting for moment at some point in this episode as well, because she's like, what the fuck, what are we doing here?
Just give us the, we are all soldiers now, we didn't used to be, we get it.
So, Cog here, Kristen. Cog being a combination of two, like, little vehicle things that came with the 1987 toy, 1988 toy, Fortress Maximus.
One of these guys, because I did see someone jump on someone else's back later.
Well, the gimmick that Cog
I think
has...
Cog was already dead then.
The gimmick that Cog has in the toy line is that he's made up of, like, 5 or 6 pieces, and you can attach them to other Autobots to give them, like a rack of missiles and shit.
Okay.
He's what they are referred to as a weaponizer, I believe.
I feel like it was an interesting choice to make him a casualty later, considering I know nothing about him, and have no feelings whatsoever about him.
Low impact.
Yeah, whatever.
Especially since they have several of them.
I guess so, yeah, it's fine.
He asks Optimus why this happened, and Optimus is like, well, Ultra Magnus and I have differing views on the war here.
Your mom and I still love each other.
He wants to stop fighting, and I never want to stop fighting, ever.
You know who else is here?
Our good friend Asswipe.
Our good friend Asswipe.
Who, with his one line this episode, makes me think that he's like the Bumblebee stand-in, because he says, guys, we gotta leave, like, now.
Scoob.
Hound and Cog agree with this here. Kristen, Ultra Magnus could spill all the info to the Decepticons here, and Optimus for...
Yeah, Optimus doesn't seem, like, appropriately alarmed. Like, this shit didn't even occur to him.
We said last episode how Bumblebee was all, I'm not an Autobot. Optimus this episode is all, I don't believe Ultra Magnus would do that to us.
We have our beats that we keep hitting.
And Red Alert, correctly, is like, what if they hack his brain? And...
That's a reasonable thing to be worried about.
Alita puts that theory to bed, though, Kristen, because Alita's just like, he would fucking kill himself before he allowed that to happen.
She basically says that he would shut himself down. And Joe, that's a fucking revelation, isn't it? That, like, Transformers have built-in, like, suicide pills?
I don't know if that's, Ultra Magnus might have a gun. He might be able to rip his own head off for all we know. I'm sure he has ways that he could stop himself from functioning that isn't, cutting up the bed sheets and making a noose out of it,
I would love to know what the rules are for, like, what constitutes a Transformer is dead. Because it seems like if they get a big hole blown in them, they might be okay. If they're just an arm, they're definitely dead. Don't even look for the other pieces.
And then, Kristen, Alita is made military commander here, which she does not seem too on board with either. She's just like, okay, cool.
All right. I guess that's me then.
And then Optimus gives his little speech about winning and victory and till all are one.
I've heard him say that before, I think. Where's that from?
That's a movie thing.
Like Michael Bay?
No, like a 1986 movie
Oh,
thing.
okay. I was like, weird. I didn't realize it was that recent.
No.
Okay. Oh, Joe, we have another friend.
Oh, it's Shockwave here.
We have so many friends in this episode, specifically Decepticon friends.
Shockwave is here with his glowing snoot, as you might refer to it, Kristen.
It's an eye. I understand. He doesn't have a snoot.
And he's got a big old plan for winning the war. Let me lay it out for you one time here. So, Step 1, find the Allspark, which is an artifact that has been lost for many thousands of years. Okay, cool. Easy peasy.
Okay.
Step 2, fuck around with it. The source of all Transformer life. Whatever.
Yeah, just mess it up.
So it will de-res all Autobots, which isn't the same thing as killing them, but if this were Tron, it would be the same thing as killing them.
But it's not Tron, so shut up. What's step 3?
Reformat them all as Decepticons, which I guess just is the easiest step after step 2. I guess it just works that way.
Step 4, profit.
And I also wanted to note here, Kristen Shockwave uses a tablet with his gun hand.
I saw that! He's using it like a stylus, and it's the funniest fucking thing I've ever seen in my life.
Megatron is like, okay, I get it, Shockwave, but why would we allocate resources toward finding the Allspark when we don't even know if it exists?
Okay, so here's another thing, Joe.
Yes.
I, vaguely know what the Allspark is, and, I've heard that name, and I know it's, cool and important.
Yes.
I don't think they do a very good job explaining what the fuck it is here, because I'm like, how do all of those things connect to each other? It's just, is it, tons of energy? Is it, robot magic? I have no idea. They don't really explain that.
I feel like the Allspark normally falls into the robot magic category. I think, it's changed a lot, which also the Allspark itself introduced in the 2007 movie as well. Weird. As basically it was a stand-in for the Matrix of Leadership, because...
Oh, okay, that makes sense, I guess, because I know what both of those things are separately.
Yeah.
And I know one is a Autobot thing.
Yeah, there's a few other things that we'll get in season 2 of the cartoon as well that are that the Allspark is sort of has taken on the properties of as well. There's a supercomputer that's able to just create Transformers, which is basically what the Allspark is, sort of, but I don't know about this de-resing shit.
Joe, I don't even know, I understand what they mean by de-res, but non-abbreviated. What the fuck does de-res mean?
It's gonna give all the Autobots a lobotomy somehow.
No, de-resolution?
De-resolution is what it is in Tron, I'm pretty sure. Which, again, you explode into a bunch of fucking pixels when that happens.
I don't really get what that means, but okay. So it seems like what's gonna happen, is it's gonna, my favorite movie in the entire world, Sucker Punch, lobotomize them, and then put nasty stripper Decepticon thoughts in their brains. Have you ever seen Sucker Punch?
I know the concept of it, but boy,
Okay, I was gonna say, it's totally possible that you have no idea what the fuck I just said. No, that movie sucks, but I love it.
Shockwave insists, Kristen, that this is the only way to win the war because it's clean, it'll be efficient, nobody else has to die, and Jetfire's like, it's not very honorable, though, is it?
Oh, so we plant the seeds, I guess, of Jetfire being like, okay, if this is the plan we go with, maybe I don't want to be a Decepticon anymore. That's what I think.
Now, Kristen, Ultra Magnus can hear this conversation that is happening, and decides...
Where the fuck is he?
The holding cell's nearby, I guess.
Just right outside the room where they're talking their plans out loud. It seems like maybe this is partially Megatron's fault.
Well, I would say that this is partially purposeful as well. Shockwave... Here, I'm gonna bring Shockwave in to talk about his stupid, ridiculous fucking plan. So
Ultra... comes in without prompting and says, hey, what's up, Megatron? And he's like, what? He doesn't know what's up. I thought when I saw Ultra Magnus that he was just, like, walking around a random hallway because he didn't look like a cell. And I was like, wasn't he supposed to be in jail? It just makes really no sense at all.
There's not a lot of sense to this, as well as the fact that Ultra Magnus, what he sends here to Optimus is what he calls the plan. Megatron is looking for the Allspark. It's going to be the extinction of all Autobots, complete annihilation. Megatron has not signed on for this plan yet, and immediately after Ultra Magnus sends this message, he says to Shockwave, I need to think about it.
Yeah, because I think after they're talking about it too, and Shockwave is like, so let me lay this on you, I believe that's when Jetfire says something critical about the plan, and then it cuts back to Shockwave, and he's like, so is that a yes? And Megatron's like, no, it fucking isn't.
So we cut back to the arc here where the Autobots receive the transmission from Ultra Magnus, and Optimus immediately is like, we cannot let Megatron get his hands on the Allspark.
And every single one of the Autobots is like, the what?
Alita asks the question, okay, so we know Megatron's plan, how are we gonna stop him? And Optimus, Kristen, he makes the decision that Megatron couldn't hear. He allocates resources that they don't have to search for the Allspark, when Megatron's like, whoa, let's take a second here.
He is such a good leader. Just get that shit out there.
Remember how I said before nobody liked the news about Ultra Magnus?
No.
Nobody likes this news either.
Everyone's just getting disappointment after disappointment today.
Cog thinks it sucks. Hound thinks it's, like, at best a waste of energon. And Sideswipe is just like, hey, can I permission to speak freely, sir? What the fuck?
Oh! Well, I am almost enjoying the passive way in this series that Optimus is just like, yeah, I know you guys think it fucking sucks, but that's the plan, so go do it.
Optimus says that he will not let his faith in Ultra Magnus falter, that this needs to be done, and Wheeljack, old light-up-ears Wheeljack is...
Hey, I was wondering where he was when he finally showed up. I love you, buddy!
Weird that he never mentioned the Space Bridge to Optimus yet, huh?
I mean... He wants to play Jem his song on the guitar, but she's just busy all the time. And I was feeling discouraged.
Well, Deirdre offers some help to Optimus here, as he's like, I could put some extra sauce in the senses, I guess, and, you know.
He's starting to sound more Italian, isn't he? Or is that just my brain translating it that way?
I feel like he sounds a little more Italian.
He sounds a little more Italian to me, because I feel like he's one of the characters with a voice. Optimus has a voice, Megatron has a voice, Starscream has a voice. You know, like, Bumblebee doesn't necessarily have a voice. Not like a character voice.
Wheeljack's got a voice, though, and that voice is Italian.
And that voice is, ayy, meatballs.
Wheeljack is the only one who is offering any sort of support to Optimus here. He offers to put some meatballs on the long-range sensors. And
Optimus is like, well, don't do that, but thanks for offering.
Please don't waste our good meatballs. We have so few left.
But we end up with Optimus just saying, like, well, now that I know no one is interested in doing this, here are the people who are going to head squads to go do this.
We go back to the Decepticons then, Kristen, and Soundwave appears here. Hey, another friend.
Yes!
Wow.
Woo!
What do you think of his voice?
It's easier to understand than the original cartoon. Because part of me was like, he sounds like a little bit more normal. Like, he doesn't sound like he's a fucked up vocoder or something. Which was a little bit like, man. But at the same time, I'm like, I did understand all of those syllables.
And how do you like the Windows Media Player visualization on his chest when he plays back the message from Ultra Magnus here?
I think he could have used one of the different visual effects, like a more interesting one with, like, rainbow colors and stuff. But,
yeah,
you know.
The bars one is the most boring.
Yeah, so we'll have more time to look into that, probably. Joe, I saw Hound this episode, too. Not Hound, Pet, but what is his name?
Oh, no, Kristen, you already forgot his name.
No, what is... Ravage?
Ravage.
Yes! The dog! The cat.
The panther.
The panther. Seeing Soundwave made me think of how I saw the dog, too.
The dog Hound. I see where
I keep wanting to call Ravage a dog.
Did you know, Kristen, that there was a toy that I had of Hound that came with a Ravage, so...
Why? To confuse me specifically?
It retroactively 12 years ago wanted to confuse you.
Jesus Christ, this is 4D chess.
Soundwave caught something going out on a low-range frequency here, which was Ultra Magnus's message. And clearly, so Megatron gets pissed when the message goes out. So clearly he did not intend for Ultra Magnus to send out a message. But,
yeah, he's like, you fucking asshole!
But immediately, like, he's really angry 1 second, and then he's just like, no, wait! Because Kristen...
I'm an idiot!
He has a cunning plan.
It almost ends up working out, but, I guess this is very original series, isn't it? Oh no, this thing. Hey, but what if this thing? And then it doesn't fucking work.
So we cut to Optimus and Alita walking in a hallway, as they do.
Where are they going? Who knows?
Optimus can tell Alita is troubled about something, and she goes, am I really that obvious? Which Kristen echoes what Optimus said in the first episode, even though I don't think it's a direct reference.
It's just, forgetful writing, perhaps. Joe, I have an observation about Alita.
Please.
I would like her a lot more if she was the size of Jetfire. I don't know why, but when I see her, like, a foot shorter than Optimus, I'm like, I wish she was huge.
At least, I mean, maybe it's just because Optimus is bigger than most of the Autobots, but, like, Alita should be... She's definitely taller than Bumblebee, at least.
Uh-huh. But she's, like... She's skinny.
Yeah.
And she's smaller than him, and he can, like, gaze down at her. No, I want Optimus up on his fucking tiptoes if he's gonna kiss her. God damn it, I don't like her.
Alita voices her concern that searching for the Allspark is a very, very...
I think this is a dumb shit plan.
It's a terrible plan, quite frankly, and
she's right.
And Kristen, I wrote here that Optimus responds like he's in customer service, saying that he understands her concerns, because that's a line
I'm so sorry you're having this experience. I want to see what I can do to make this better.
That's a line I've had to use many a time.
Yup.
And much like customer service, Kristen, Optimus does not give a shit.
No, he really doesn't care at all. It's weird, though, because he is the boss, so who's he gonna escalate it to? If the boss doesn't care, what then?
Kristen, Alita says that this isn't the life that I envisioned for us.
Us, like, a couple, or us, like, everyone? Just curious. And she's like, can you fucking focus, Optimus?
Yeah, I was gonna say, is that what Optimus's response should have been? Like, whoa, like us, or like the royal us?
Whoa! And yeah, Alita is apparently not sure what they're fighting for at this point, which is really appropriate, because I don't think I know either.
Optimus says, it's a life worth fighting for, which does
not answer my
nothing!
questions.
Nothing to placate what's happening here.
Oh, we love our vagaries, don't we?
An alarm sounds here. Thank God, Saved by the Bell here, as...
Oh, thank God we can stop this conversation, because it was going nowhere!
The Autobots gather to hear a new message from Ultra Magnus, which sounds kind of like... It sounds normal enough, but it has kind of a weird, almost YouTube poop quality to it, where it's just like fucking mixing the sentence...
on my math test.
Mixing the sentence together. Yes, thank you.
I don't know how. I feel like I spaced out for this part, because I don't even remember that. I just saw them going to look for a thing later, and I was like, okay.
We cut to Soundwave Kristen. He created the transmission himself. He's the guy who makes the YouTube poops on the Decepticon team.
Of course
here.
He is.
And this is a trap. So, Megatron...
Ooh!
Yes.
It's been a while since I've said this. Gutsman's ass.
Wow! All right,
Wow!
cool. It is definitely 2008 in this podcast.
I think that's the only YouTube poop I know.
Megatron then heads over to the cells to rub it in.
People know what YouTube poop is anymore.
It's a different time, Kristen. Well,
okay, sorry.
It's just all just memes now, Kristen. That's what all you gotta say is just Soundwave is the meme maker.
No, I don't like that. He's like a man with a kitty cat and a bird in him, and I like him that way. And 2 birds.
Megatron then heads over to the cells here to rub it in Ultra Magnus's face that not only did he find out about the transmission that he sent out, but it is also going to be the cause of the death of the Autobots. Ha ha.
And Ultra Magnus looks like, I cannot believe this has happened. Because he's still like, what if Megatron, we just kind of talked it out, and Megatron's like, you asshole, you sent a message to Optimus.
We get to the Autobots here, Kristen. They are all gathered at the broadcasted coordinates that the fake YouTube poop message told them here. And
all like spread out into different places, though.
Shockwave tells us this is Iacon, which is weird because you would think that the Autobots would know if the Allspark was in the Autobot city, but I guess that Iacon is just not important this time.
It's just actually really plain looking. So they walked by it a bunch of times and they were like, ugh, what's that piece of garbage down there? Gross. And it turns out that piece of garbage was the Allspark. Wow.
Ooh, Kristen, it's time for the roll call of the B-grade Decepticons, none of whom will be appearing in the Generation 1 cartoon, maybe Skytread, maybe Spinister. I don't know. They would be season the 3 episodes that happen in season 4, I think.
These are the people I thought were Constructicons and Insecticons.
We've got Impactor, who is purple and yellow, and I thought traditionally an Autobot from what I knew, but apparently whatever.
It's almost like he looks like he could maybe be a Constructicon.
Constructicons are green, Kristen, but I could see why you might mistake them.
Green's not that good.
You're right. Barricade, who we talked about.
Yes.
Skytread, who punches Optimus in the face later and then does nothing. And Spinister, who I think actually does do nothing.
Yeah, they all look different enough. I'm like, I don't even know how many of them there are. Wait, so their plan was send 4 Decepticons in.
And a bunch of reflectors. There were some reflectors there.
It seems like they could have had, considering all those fucking Seekers we saw before, the giant crowd of them, maybe this ambush could have been a little bit more thorough. Considering they get 1 hit.
Also, one thing to note here, I hope that Spinister doesn't do much more because Google will autocorrect that to Spinster every time. So Alita Kristen points out, hey, Optimus, this looks like a place where we're getting set up. Like, this feels like it's a trap.
And you know what? That's a pretty good observation coming from the current military commander of the Autobots.
And Kristen, Optimus then gaslights Alita by just being like, Ultra Magnus risked his life to get us this information. You don't know that!
By the way, I'm still listening to him and not you, so sorry. Better come up with some of your own ideas, woman in the workplace.
Ultra Magnus would never, ever, ever do this to us. And then Alita has to be like, okay, so you know how the Decepticons, like the root word there is deception?
What?
And
I don't see the point you're trying to make.
Optimus, you believe in everyone no matter what, and that's your problem. You're too trusting, goddammit!
Optimus is like, what? Like, that's the first time he's heard that.
We cut to the squad with Cog and Chromia here. Chromia gets a few more lines this episode, Kristen.
She's still sexy robot lady shaped, so I find it hard to care.
She has no personality other than girl currently. So.
I really thought that they were going to kill her off. I'd just be like, okay, this is too many girls. We got to get rid of one.
They find where potentially the Allspark could be here, and as it turns out, after they go to the door, it's just like a tank of super high octane energon or something.
Joe, I got a question.
Yes.
Why was it something valuable?
I don't know. What I thought, Kristen, was the big thing that was going to happen here when Chromie is finally like, wait, this is a trap, was...
I thought it was going to explode or something.
Yeah, I thought they were going to shoot it to explode it, but no, it just Impactor's gun or Barricade's gun or whoever it is blows off a good chunk of Cog's chest. God, how fucking fragile is this guy?
Yeah, so this is when I first was like, oh shit, we did introduce a bunch of new people who I do not recognize. Is it possible that there are going to be some death in this series? Not really, no.
Here, no.
Which I guess kind of works out because I was like, don't you kill Mirage! I know him! Don't you kill Hound! Don't kill any of the ones I know! Mirage was there.
First of all, yeah, robot fight starts here, and Kristen, here's where we note Ravage is among the Decepticon forces, not really adding much to what is mostly a laser fight.
No, I don't think I see him do a single thing except be real cute.
Mirage is here, making his very first appearance other than, like, in shadow or as, like, another color version of him as, like, a pack filler in scenes. And his big momentous action is getting tackled by a reflector, and the reflector saying that he's going to rip out his circuits.
Yeah, this time we get what I guess is maybe arguably better than usual, and it is a series of robot fight vignettes rather than one long drawn-out robot fight. And I kind of like that better, because at least it feels like there's stuff happening and, like, pacing.
It's a bit more engaging.
Yes. Every few seconds you have oh, what's happening over there?
Yes, you care more about what's going on rather than all of the Autobots standing static in a frame, pointing their guns and firing lasers out from them.
Again, hey, good for this cartoon. I was like, is someone gonna die? That would be pretty cool if someone died. They fell short of my expectations, but they made me think it for a second.
So Skytread gets his big moment here, punching Optimus in the face, and then Optimus just punches him right back, and if that's the last we see of him, that's fine. He had a good run.
Whatever.
Optimus fires on a flying Seeker here who crashes into a building, and then, Kristen, this building falls onto Impactor and a few of the reflectors / refractors, as I referred to in my notes as well, because they were not able to copyright reflector.
Whatever. it was also kind of at this point where, looking back, I'm like, wait a minute. If they are killing people, because let's be honest, that Seeker is definitely dead, really are going to be killing Decepticons when they have 10,000 Autobots? Interesting choice.
The building falling here allows the Autobots to retreat, and Chromia and the mostly blown up Cog are hanging out on the Optimus's legs, basically, when he's transformed. I don't know what to call that portion when it's like the back of the cab, basically.
Everyone hop onto my gans. He is a pretty big hole blown in his chest. I looked at him and went, woo!
Yeah, that's basically the reaction Red Alert had, too. When he was wheeled in here, it's like, hey, can we do anything for him? And Red Alert goes, woo!
Yeah, he's like, why would you even ask me that? Put him in the repair bay! Yeah, bring in this man with a huge gunshot wound and be like, can you fix him? And not, oh, we have someone hurt here, what do we do?
Wheeljack comes in. Apparently he was just hanging out watching the censors or listening to the ball game or something. And was just like, hey, so, I heard something about some super high-octane energon.
And Alita's like, yeah, no, we didn't grab it. And he's like, dip.
And Optimus is like, well, hey, Wheeljack, anything about the Allspark, huh? And Wheeljack's like, no. And Optimus, if we keep using the senses, it's going to be hard to stay hidden.
Optimus is like, yeah, don't worry about it, go for it. And Alita's like, I'm sorry?
Alita, snaps is too strong a word, but she's just like, what? No!
I'm starting to understand a little bit more of her attitude in the first episode if this is the shit she deals with from Optimus all the time.
The military commander of the Autobots says, Optimus, we don't have the resources. And Optimus says, keep searching, Wheeljack.
Thanks for giving me this position. That should have some authority that you're just electing to completely ignore. Love that.
Back in Iacon here, Barricade is gathering the rest of the Decepticons, which we see Ravage crawling out of a hole here. And
he shakes his cute little head.
Impactor's arm fell off, and Barricade's just like, well, he's dead, so...
Again, they don't even try to look for the other pieces of him. I find it super difficult to understand what constitutes as a dead robot. But I don't think I'm ever going to get an answer to that.
No. Well, okay, so the Autobots escaped. Let's just get that Energon, and we'll be good to go. And we see Spinister, who's just like, I don't have the Energon.
Just looking left, looking right, holding out his empty hands like,
Barricade notes, oh, Megatron's not going to like this. And then they cut to Megatron not liking it.
Megatron does not like it.
So not only did we lose our bait of super high-octane Energon, which it could have been anything, quite frankly, I still don't know why it was...
It could have been poop in a bag.
It could have been. He's like, is this the Allspark? Huh?
Woo! It smells weird.
But no, not only are there no dead Autobots, or at least if there is a dead Autobot, it's one nobody cares about. And two, we lost our super high-octane Energon. And the Autobots got that too. Shockwave, though, is here to be like, oh, wait, actually, they didn't. We don't know who did. And, Kristen, we get the thing where I feel like this would have been a much better way to end the episode. There's like, this episode goes like 40 seconds too long after this here when Megatron is just like, if the Autobots don't have the Energon, who does? And
I also think they didn't necessarily even need to do this because once it was... the Autobots didn't get the Energon, that sucks, that would have been really helpful. And then the Decepticon being like, oh shit, wait a minute, where's that shit we need? My brain was like, oh, Bumblebee. I think I started pointing at TV like, Bumblebee took it.
And wouldn't you know, Kristen, we get a shot of the yellow boy himself, of Cloud Strife.
Bumblebee took it.
Of Bumblebee taking the Energon, yes.
Uh-huh. To what end, we do not know yet. But he showed up in this episode.
And we go back to Megatron, to Magnus in the cell here. Megatron getting desperate. Hey, tell me where Optimus is. And Magnus...
I do appreciate first, Ultra Magnus is like, based on your fucking sourpuss over there, I'm going to assume you didn't kill Optimus. And Megatron's like, Urgh!
Megatron punches the energy wall of the cell thing, which knocks...
Like his hand goes through it so he can nail Ultra Magnus in the solar plexus.
Which knocks him over, and the big end of the episode here, rather than Bumblebee being the man with the Energon, is Megatron turning the Shockwave and going, hey, you know that weirdo plan that you told me about before? Let's do that. That sounds good.
Guess what? Ultra Magnus just decided that's the plan we're going with, so congrats on contributing to the genocide of your people.
And, Kristen, that's the end of episode 2 of...
whatever the show is called.
The series that we're watching.
The Transformers Netflix thing.
There you go. So I definitely feel like if the pace continues to be this slow, if it doesn't like start picking up a bit, starting in maybe episode 4, then we might have something to be worried about. But I think the leisurely pace now is fine. But like I said, I think all of it, like all that happened in this episode, Ultra Magnus gets captured, leads the Autobots to an ambush as a result of his getting captured, could have all happened in one segment of the Transformers cartoon.
I do feel like what I want to happen is different from, like, plot-wise is a good idea for, like, things to happen, to, like, roll out a sequence of events. Because in my mind, I'm sitting here, I'm like, yeah, so this is going on. Totally unrelated to all that. Where's Grimlock?
I don't know if Grimlock...
Guy?
I don't know if he exists here at this point.
He should. I want to see him run around being an asshole.
If only the Autobots had the Dinobots, they could have won.
Wheel deck, please! Wheel deck, please! I guess Spike's not there to give them the idea.
Now's the point in the evening where we'll list off all of the fun contact things. Where you can find us, you can follow us right on that Twitter machine at cwtapod.
You can follow me at Marina Kazam.
You can find us on Apple Podcasts, on SoundCloud, on Stitcher Radio, on YouTube even. Leave a rating, give a review, do whatever you feel like. You can also drop us a line to cwtapod@gmail.com where you can tell us all about where cloth might come from on this very metallic planet. Still a bit questionable, not sure why, and how best the Decepticons can make deepfake YouTube poop messages with the words they got from Ultra Magnus. Such as, I'm Ultra Magnus, and I steal from my mom's purse! And Kristen, that will be all for episode 2 of The Venture here. We look forward to the developments in episode 3, of course. Hopefully it'll be the best episode 3 of this series it can possibly be.
I hope Alita gets big.
Join us again for the next installment of NTFWFCTC1STSTURP!
Pretty impressive. More initialisms are in the mail.